Hey.
Sharon Eisner. Sharon's a storyteller. Hello, Richard, storyteller. You're in on time. Thank you. You can temporarily unmute yourselves, particularly if you're a storyteller. Kat is here.
Hi.
All right, so I'm going to say, hey, Andrew. Hi, Mary Jo. Hi, Howard, who's NSN Tech Administrator. Just to let us all know that he is a National Storytelling Network higher up. Bigwig. Does it make him a better storyteller or a winner? Not necessarily. Does
Fuck
it make
you.
him better looking than anyone? No.
Have you ever heard the expression, fuck you?
Yeah. All right. So if your name is not Howard, Richard, Andrew, Sharon, or Mary Jo, and you would like to tell a story tonight, please put it in the chat. You could just do it to me privately. Either way, I'll get it. Your name. That would be the easiest thing. So, Kat, I'll say your name out aloud so we're super clear. And as you know, if you weren't confirmed before, and there are more than 5 people that will draw from a hat, a symbolic hat. If there are only 5 or less, then we don't have to do that. Cool. Bob Dancer is on the list. Myself and the 3 judges had a very, very good 15-minute chat before you got here. I will tell you right now, in a friendly and loving way, you need to bring your A game this evening. They are not playing. Just so you know. This is fun, but they are not playing. Cool, we got Bob and Kat. Who else? Hey, Mike. Just so you know, Mike, if there's more than 5 that come on this list, then we're going to draw for it. But for now, I'm putting your name on. So it looks good because I said at 7:05.
Here.
It's too late. It's now 7:02 and change.
No, he's in the Monday, Wednesday,
Steph,
Friday.
in total, there'll be 10. That's the maximum. The only reason there's less is that if I don't get 5 names here.
Richard, Miss Joy.
I think so.
I've got 5 names confirmed. You all know who you are. And I've got Kat, Bob, and Mike as the next 3. Now, we're going to change things up a little bit. Unlike last time where we had 3 judges and a winner, tonight we're going to have a second place as well. All right? Now, I want you to aim for first, of course. Yeah, Steph, I'm going to put you on the list. So now we have four names, and we have, if David Latham, did I have you? David is 5. I'm going to make sure I say names. David, you make 5. So if we get anybody else coming in, then we have to actually draw, and that means at least one person will not get a spot this evening.
I don't mind stepping out so everybody else can have a spot.
Really?
I don't mind.
All right.
Sure.
If you don't get a spot and you wanted a spot tonight, then you're guaranteed a spot next time if the schedule works for you. Does that work? Or you could be a judge. Those are the 2 options. Trying to,
Or you could
Sure.
feel bad.
It's 7:04 right now, Steph. Unless somebody else comes, we've got a total of 10, and they're in, and our judges are waiting and ready. So I will have a little brief intro, and then we're going to hop right in. Just bear in mind, and I'll say this again, you've got 5 minutes and a 30-second grace. If you go over, you get to continue your story, but you cannot win. Okay? Okay? If you're way off theme, you cannot win. You don't get points off. You can't win. The theme is milestones. Milestones, anniversaries, breakthroughs, turning points. You could arguably say that any story has some change, transformation, or realization. It's almost embedded in the nature of story itself. So if you tell a story, you're probably in good shape, but I'm leaving it up to our judges. They will do a brief introduction in a moment. When my clock hits 7:06, we have our 10 storytellers.
Wait, did everybody prepare a story or is this an impromptu story? Sorry.
Why don't you listen to the stories and then we'll like see if that sounded. No, I think I'm guessing most people here have something prepared.
Okay,
That
I
changed
don't.
it for you?
Yeah, I thought. Sorry, I think I'm out. I think I'm out.
Wait,
I think I'm disqualified.
wait. Just to be real clear here. So it's 7:06. Again, we've got our 5 originals. We've got David, Steph, Mike, Bob, and Kat. So Steph, that 10th spot, you may not go 10th, but that 10th spot is yours if you want it. And I would love to hear you share something.
Let's table it. Can we?
Really?
I mean, I have.
Everybody's gonna say they want to hear you.
I want to hear you.
I thought
see
this
it
was
in.
the game. I thought we were playing the game where you get the prompt and you do the thing.
That's called Story Flash. That's next Tuesday.
Oh, sorry.
I only came to hear you, Steph. I didn't care. I came just to hear you.
Yep.
Sure.
All right, so cool. So now that we have 10 people, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up all the names. And it's cool because now you don't have to wait and be like, I don't know if I'm going to get a spot. Howard knows that a couple of days ago I was on the National Storytelling Network's Slam, the first ever, and they had like 24 entries and 12 spots. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I didn't get a spot.
Her name. She's on
So it happens, right?
the.
All right, awesome. So quick intro here. We're going to go over the rules. The judges are going to do a quick hello. And then we're going to get started. Obviously, thank you for being here. I think most people know me. I'm Sean. It's part of the group that was originally named and still is named Life in the Time of Corona. A lot of story stuff. Our 3 judges, we've got Anna in Colorado. Anna, can you unmute yourself and a quick hello?
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. I'm super excited to be terrible and super judgy, and I'm just joking, of course, but I'm really excited to be here. I'm a huge fan of Slam, and I can't wait to be a part of this. So do your best, or I will crush you. Just kidding, not really.
I love that. And just so you all know, I know Anna, our paths crossed when we were both living in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So it's really cool that we sort of ended up reconnecting here on Zoom. And Anna did I tried to produce as best I could a little stand-up comedy thing in English in Argentina. And she was one of my comics.
Guinea pigs.
Yeah. So that was awesome. All right. Judge number 2 in no particular order is Sheila out in Cali. Sheila, unmute and say hey, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to hear all your stories, and I love seeing everybody's beautiful smiling faces here. I'm just happy to be here, man, and I'm ready to have a good time. And that's it.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure Jeff is getting on here, and he is going to be pissed that he was late because I know he wanted to join. But, you know, I got to keep this tight, right? I said 7:05. I made it clear. Our 3rd judge is out of the Boston, Massachusetts area. Kim, would you unmute yourself and say hey, please?
Hi, everybody. Kim, very happy to see all your faces. Excited to hear some stories. And like Anna, I'm ready to judge. I was born and raised Roman Catholic, went to Catholic school my whole career. So judging is in my blood. Ready to go.
That's awesome. I was like hoping that you all would come off as a bit tough, and it's way tougher than I could have ever dreamed of. It's perfect. Thank you. Everybody's going to be muted as the storytellers speak, so that may require me to mute everyone and then the storyteller unmute themselves. We have to work out that little tech glitch. We're going to have 5 storytellers with not much time in between. We're going to have a little few-minute break after the 5th. And then we'll have the 5 more. Afterwards, the judges will have a little time to convene and figure out who our winner is. Here's the important part. You all get to vote for the 2nd place winner. What that looks like, to keep it simple, and I don't want to deal with polling in Zoom because it's just complicated for me. When the last person is gone, during that time between while the judges are figuring things out, I'll remind you a couple times, you'll message me privately who you think your winner is, and you just can't vote for yourself. Okay? And what that'll look like is if the judges have whoever it is, and you all agree on, and you agree and you think that person's number one, then I'll take the second most common one. So we'll figure out a fair way so that the second person is second place, and I have prizes for both of you. For 3rd through 10th, I don't have a prize, but I am lonely, and I'm offering a 1-week stay at my place. I have an extra bedroom. No one's taken me up on that yet. And I don't think you will, but that's an option so that you don't feel like you're a loser per se. No one's a loser here. Ever. Good. Let me draw the first name. Here we go. Judges look ready. Storytellers are ready. We've got 10. This is going to be good. Kim.
I also just really quickly want to say I will be closing my camera so that you can't see my face while I do this. Just a heads up. So it's not personal. I hate
Awesome.
you all, so.
Right. And oh, by the way, Sheila is a slam. Is it a Grand Slam or a Slam champion? No joke. So, like, no one's gonna like you. You're not gonna be able to like get one over on any of them. I guess not gonna happen this evening. I don't know how it was in the last Slam or two, but that's no. All right, just so that you all
Champion.
And real quick, for your viewing pleasure, you can have it on either speaker or whatever the other one is, gallery. That's your call. And at any point, you should hopefully be able to find your chat on the bottom. At least that's on laptops and desktops. And you can say whatever you want to everyone or privately. I know as a teller myself, sometimes it's nice to get a little feedback. Good job. Powerful stuff. Interesting. Wow. Things like that. All right, here we go. There's no sleight of hand here. Our first storyteller this evening from North Carolina. Kat Dean. Give it up, Kat Dean.
No way. Okay.
So, Kat, take your time, and when it's clear that you've started your story, I'm going to start the clock, okay?
Okay. Okay, I wasn't expecting to go first, but that's okay. That's part of the fun. The door to the office opened, and a woman walked in wearing a gray suit. She looked very professional. Hi, my name is Carrie, she told me. I'm here to interview for the office assistant job. While she sat down to wait, I let the doctor know she was there and snooped through her resume. And I realized, well, damn. She's good. And I had thought I might be getting this job. 3 months earlier, I had started working as a temp in Dr. Green's upstate New York pain management clinic. And I actually liked the job very much. It was fairly easy. I scheduled the appointments. I followed up with the clients. I filed a few things, and I juggled the pharmaceutical reps who were always trying to ply me with gifts in an effort to catch the doctor's ear for an afternoon. And the office itself was a lovely office. It was in one of those wood frame houses down a residential street. And the street was lined with these nice oak trees, and there was off-street parking, which everybody knows in a city is just an amazing thing to find. And best of all, to me, the neighbor's kitten every day would toddle over and climb up on the porch and wait for me to come out and pet him during quiet times. So when I met Carrie, sorry, phone distracted me. So when I found out that job was going to be permanent, I was really eager to apply for it. And up until that moment, I was feeling very confident that I might be getting the job. Nobody else had better experience than I did, or better education. And I knew everybody there, and everybody liked everybody until today, when Carrie walked in. And her resume, she had a more relevant education. She had a better experience. She'd been working in doctor's offices for months. And she was very likable, which made me absolutely hate her. So the next day, when Dr. Greenhouse walked up to my desk, he says, well, do you want the job? He was smiling. And I thought, oh my God, yes, I do want the job. I was so excited, so happy. But wait, I had to ask, why would you hire me? I was looking at Carrie's resume and she was amazing. That was a stupid thing to say and ask. I knew that and I know that now, but I did ask. And he turned around and he wasn't not smiling anymore. I like you. And I think my clients will like you. Well, that's a good thing to hear. I mean, everybody wants to hear that. That was yes. But wait, I continued because I was ignorant and naive. Carrie was really nice too. I sat and talked to her for a while before you came out, and she seemed really nice. At this point, I noticed that Dr. Greenhouse was looking at me out of the corner of his eye, which everybody in the office knew was a sign he was getting really pissed and probably just about to explode on somebody. Then he said it out loud. I had never heard an educated man say it out loud before. I think my clients would prefer to work with a white woman. Do you want the job or not? I was stunned. I would not have been more stunned if he'd slapped my face. No, I don't want the job. That's all I could think to say. And then I turned and walked back to my desk. A desk that I knew tomorrow morning would have another white woman sitting at it. And that white woman would have absolutely no idea about me. She would have no idea about Carrie. And she would most certainly have no idea what her passive but very important role in systemic racism was. But now I could never unknow it again. And you will never unknow it again either. Done.
Woot.
Great job, Kat.
Yeah, sorry about that. Somebody called in the middle of that and just threw me
No,
off.
it's really hard to go first, and then you had that interruption. So I think you handled it beautifully. It's a great story. Thank you for sharing it. It is obviously very relevant to what's up. But
Thank you for listening. Thanks for giving me a chance to tell it.
sure. And by the way, so what will probably be the best thing is if you want to clap and be heard, like literally, you can just unmute yourselves in the space right after someone shares your call. And then again, I'll encourage people to use the chat. And you could, again, message somebody privately. You could message Kat right now, for example, something to the entire group. And then typically with any of the events I've been doing, we stay on afterwards. So if some of the storytellers want to hang out, if they can and want to, you can continue the conversation that way as well. So Kat, yeah, great, good stuff. Going first. Not that you're competitive and came here to win. I know it's not at all about that for you, but
no, I'm just trying to get some experience. So
no, I know. There are some people that are very competitive. They want to win. Others, it's more about the experience and sharing. So, no judgments either way. You know who you are out there who have that little competitive streak in you. It's all good. Great job. Way to lead it off. All right, so our second storyteller this evening, I'm going to keep doing this because I want to be very clear. I'm not playing favorites. I want anybody to think that I'm doing that. There's a few people on here this evening that I don't know. Several of you I do. And if you chatted, a couple of people asked me a question in the chat. I'll get to that in 1 second. Our second storyteller this evening, I'm just resetting my clock, is somebody that I've not met before. David, take your time. When you're ready, unmute yourself. And when it's clear you've started your story, I'll start the clock. Break a leg. Make sure you unmute when you're ready. Okay?
And that's how I died. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, thanks. All right. So the best job I ever had, and at the same time, the worst job I ever had was working in the San Diego County Jail as an inmate and as a trustee. My first day on this job working in the kitchen, this guy came up to me, this man, pulled me aside and he said, hey, I need you to scrub my toilet. It was Ray. Ray ran the whole kitchen. He worked for the sheriff's department. And so Ray was like the boss of this kitchen that I was working in. And so when Ray pulled me aside, again, he had this really like unapologetic tone of saying, it wasn't like, can you scrub my toilet? It was like, I need you to scrub my toilet. And as bad as that sounds, it kind of appealed to me because I needed this distraction to take me away from this anxiety I was having from being in jail. So when Ray asked me to scrub his toilet, I looked at it this way, like this is a way to get outside of myself. And maybe Ray could help me with that. So when Ray asked me to scrub the toilet, I scrubbed the shit out of that toilet. I did a really good job. And it taught me something, what to do next. Ray asked me, he said, again, in this really unapologetic tone that he always used, was, he wasn't asking me, he was saying, why are you here? Why are you in jail? And when I told him why I was in jail, he said, well, why the fuck would you want to do heroin? And for the first time, and I've been asked this question so many times, why, I said, I don't know. And I really meant it this time. I don't know why I'm here, but every time I come to jail, this is what happens to me. Every time I continue to use, this is what happens to me. And then I scrubbed his toilet probably about 10 more times in the next few weeks. And then 37 days later, they let me go out of jail. I had nowhere to go, but I had 37 days clean, and it'd been like 37 years, it felt like, since I had 37 days clean. And one thing I wanted to do was to keep that going. I was homeless during this era, so one of the first things I did with all the money I made in jail at 50 cents a day was I went to a thrift shop and I bought a pair of used sneakers for like $5. And it was like a middle-aged man buying a sports car. You know, it was like, it felt good, like, these are mine, because what happens when you're homeless, you have nowhere to go, but you spend a lot of time walking to nowhere. So you have these holes in your shoes. So I buy this $5 pair of sneakers. And I want to stay clean. So in this, like, maybe this effort to stay clean, I joined a gym. It was a complete waste of money because there's equipment in there, and I don't have the balls or my ego is too big to ask somebody how to use this equipment. So all I would do was use the treadmill all the time. And I liked running. I started to like running. And I came by to see my dad one day, and I said, yeah, I ran a mile today on the treadmill. And he says, you should run a 5K. My dad is in his 70s. He says, I'll do it with you if you do it. So we do it together. And it was the furthest, it's 3 miles, right? It's the furthest I ever ran in my life, maybe since high school. But my dad's with me, and he's 70 something, and he finishes it, and we finish together, and I just felt this connection with my father again, because one of the worst things about using wasn't necessarily the jails or the homelessness, it was the absolute pure loneliness that comes with that. And one of the lies that dope tells you is that you have nothing better to do. And so I run a little bit more, and I do a 10K, and then I do like a 15K, and then I do like a half marathon, then I run a marathon, and it's healing me, not just physically, but mentally. It really, it's something that I like that I didn't know until I was nearly 40 that I would enjoy doing. I'm in one of these races, and I notice a guy about 10 lengths ahead of me. And I get closer, and it was Ray. Ray, the guy that ran the kitchen. He was running it. And so I ran next to him for probably a couple miles before I got the courage to say anything to him, because I don't know what to say to him, but I feel like at this point, I feel like he's a celebrity who's helped me. So I like nervously said, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I used to scrub your toilet. And he just stopped me, and he said, again, really unapologetic. He just said, well, look at you now. And he high-fived me. And that's what I was looking for. This somehow validation, this somehow like this completeness. From there, I was able to, what surprised me at that race was at the end of the race, my father was waiting for me. I didn't expect him to be there, and he was there. And that was the best and furthest I ever ran. Thanks.
Good job, David.
Thanks.
Hey, David, where are you located?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck you too.
Fuck me
Yeah.
too. No, North Carolina's not bad, but San Diego.
No, I've been to North Carolina and South Carolina. I used to live in upstate New York, but
yeah,
appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks
for sharing that story. I if anybody knows me, they know I tend to lean on that type of story. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
What I've noticed from the first two storytellers is that both definitely on theme, and both have had unexpected noise challenges that they've handled quite well. So
you know, it's funny, real quick. What's funny is that at my house, I also host the Airbnb, and someone just checked in like 10 seconds ago, and he can hear me saying all these things, but haven't even met yet. You're welcome.
Right, that's epic. That's funny.
Right?
It's funny. Interesting. I'm surprised you got. Oh, so you could do Airbnb with this whole pandemic. That's cool. Be safe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a separate thing. So yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks again.
Thank you, man.
Cool. I'm muting everyone, and we're gonna hop into our third. We've gotten started with some solid stories, which is amazing. Good job. All right, keep rolling, and then remember, after the fifth one, we're gonna take a little break, go to the bathroom, do your thing, and remember, it might behoove you to jot down a note or two about some of these storytellers or all of them, because at the end, I'm going to ask you for your vote, the people's vote. Our next storyteller number 3 this evening, from the land or the state of many, many lakes, none other than Howard Lieberman. Knock him dead, Howard.
In November of 1963, my mother died. Now that would be a big deal for most people, and you lose your mother when you're 14, but it was a very big deal to me because my father had left us when I was 9, and how they told us. I went to an emergency room. Some doctor came out. He walked up to me and he said, "I'm sorry, son. We did everything we could, and your mother is dead." And he turned around and he walked away. But I was a good boy. I was the younger brother, but emotionally the older brother. And I was a good boy. I was a nice Jewish boy. I went to shul, I davened, I even laid tefillin and said the Shema every day. And I never gave my mother any trouble. We sat Shiva at one of my rich relatives' house in Glencoe, Illinois. The first day of Shiva, I got there, and there was all this opulence. I'm a poor person. We lived in a little 1-bedroom apartment, and my brother and I had shared a bed. My mother had slept in a pull-out sofa, so I didn't know opulence, but we sat Shiva and opulence, and I was okay. I said, okay, I'm going to handle this because I have to handle this, and because I'm the good boy, unlike my brother, who was not a good boy. The first day of Shiva, people I knew and mostly didn't know came in. They came in bearing gifts, liquor, cake, deli, you name it, it was there. They would put it on the table. It looked like a wedding. When you put all the food down, it looked like a wedding. It looked like let's all drink and have a party. And then they would come up to me and they would put their arms around me and they would say, I'm so sorry, Howard. I'm so sorry. And I would look at them and wonder, what are they sorry about? They didn't kill my mom. And I began to wonder where they were when my mother, who worked in a factory to try and raise two boys, where were they when we needed them? Maybe they weren't sorry that we were poor. They were sorry that now they had to think about this orphan boy. Well, I didn't like that very much. So I walked into the basement of this opulent house, down inlaid stone steps every day, right after people came, right after we said Kaddish. And I played ping pong by myself every day of Shiva. I put the back end of the table up and I would hit the ball back and forth, ka-ding, ka-ding, ka-ding. And when everybody was gone and Shiva was over, I would walk up those steps. I would look out at all the food and all the alcohol and all the mess, and I didn't want to eat. I couldn't drink. And I would go upstairs to bed in an opulent bed in an opulent house and wonder, when this is all over, where will I live? And I don't know that it mattered. I would do the same thing day after day. Say hello, get kissed. There are people say they were sorry who didn't really know me. Say Kaddish and go downstairs. On the last morning, the last evening of Shiva, when I knew every single person was gone, I walked up those stone stairs, one after the other. And I opened the door and I looked out. And I knew from that minute, no more tefillin, no more Shema, no more God. And I walked out of the house and never, ever came back. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks, Howard. Howard, you first of all, thank you for sharing. I didn't expect necessarily when I created that theme of milestones, because I feel like it could be so many different things, and it's fine if it is, but it's interesting to me that our first three storytellers have all shared sort of these kinds of stories, which I dig. So I'm not sure exactly how to classify them. It doesn't need a label. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just those, like, keeping it real. That said, I have no idea what the judges think, but no doubt those are all good scores. On theme, beautiful job. Real quick, Howard, and I should have asked Kat or David, but if not, I will at the break. Howard, Howard is a part of the National Storytelling. Can you give us a quick blurb of what it is and how people who are interested in storytelling? Quick.
The National Storytelling Network is an organization devoted to storytelling and storytellers. There are regional groups of storytellers all knit together in one national organization that used to have an annual conference. This year, because of COVID, we didn't have a national conference, so we had a global 9-day Zoom conference with people from every continent in the world except for Antarctica.
Wow.
Boy, you'll love it. It's you'll learn, and you'll learn. There are people who will teach. If you're really good, you can teach others. It's a wonderful organization.
Yeah. Mary Jo, by the way, corrected me. It's 10,000 lakes. Thank you, Mary Jo.
How many did you put down?
I put like 5,410. But she corrected me because that's what she does. And that's good. That's all good. And I just, again, I'm not mad at you per se that I didn't get picked for the slam, but you are on like the board, right?
I tried.
I don't think you did. I got to keep it real here. I don't think you did.
Well, you
I'm
know
not
what?
sure. I don't really think he tried very hard.
They showed me the names before they announced them, and I deep sixed you.
Oh, right, sure. No, I totally think that they were picking in the moment like I'm doing. Yeah, it was cool. That was fun. It was inclusive. The co-host did a good job. Anyway, and David and Kat, I'll get back to you if you guys have anything directly or even indirectly story related that you want to share, plug. It's all good verbally in the chat before you take off. Hopefully you can stick around for a little bit. Cool. So our fourth storyteller this evening, I said we were going to roll pretty quick in the first part, and we are. Here we go. Our fourth storyteller this evening, somebody else I have never met, but I'm glad that he's here, is Mike. Mike, are you here?
That's me, right?
Is there any other Mikes? Did you put your name in?
I did.
You're the only Mike.
There's tons of mics usually. Okay, good.
Yeah, right. No, you're it. So I'm going to mute myself, and when you're ready, I'll be ready.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. So this is the story about the best thing that ever happened to me. It was 2004, and I was a graduate student, and I was living in a small college town in the Midwest. And I just had a really, really bad breakup with a classmate. So I was sitting around my apartment feeling sorry for myself, listening to a lot of Coldplay. And my roommate at the time was an old friend of mine, and he said, look, like, you got to snap out of this. You're going out with me tonight. We're going to the club. We're going dancing. And I said, I don't really want to go, but I did. And the key to the story, I did not change my clothes. So I went out to the club wearing a t-shirt, like cargo pants, 2004, and like Teva sandals. Now these are the wraparound sandals, right? They wrap around your ankle. Important to the story because we're at the club and it is not packed, and it is oldies, like old school night, right? So they're playing like Prince, and they're playing old funk music, and they're playing Michael Jackson, right? And so I'm dancing to Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. So picture that song, right? And I go to step down while I'm dancing, and I don't do like a crazy dance move. I am not a good dancer, but I land awkwardly, and my foot kind of flips like that, right? Now, if I were wearing normal shoes, I might have just rolled my ankle, no big deal, but not in wraparound Teva sandals. What happened was the sandal went like that, my foot kind of went like that, and my whole body weight came down on the outside of my foot. There's a bone on the outside of the foot called the fifth metatarsal, and I heard that bone break over the music. And so I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm hobbling to the bathroom, and all I can hear is Michael Jackson singing about Annie and if Annie's okay. And I'm like, look, Michael Jackson, I am not okay. Like, I am pretty badly hurt. My friends thought it was hilarious. They take me home. I wake up the next day, my foot is just swollen up, and I said, look, I got to go to a doctor. So I go to a doctor. But the doctor is at the Student Health Center at a small college town in the Midwest in the summer, and there's no students. So it is deserted. There's no wait, right? But the thing about a Student Health Center in a college town in the summer is that if you show up with a freak injury like this, it is showtime. Like, they were delighted to see me. The intake guy asked me what happened, and I told him, and he said, oh, you were at the club? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, was it bumping? And I said, well, no, I mean, it wasn't bumping. And he said, yeah, man, that's great when it's not bumping, because like, if it's bumping, there's usually some football player types there, and then nobody wants to talk to guys like us. And I was like, I think you're making fun of me, but I'll let it go because I'm really hurt. And so he writes hurt foot dancing at club on the intake sheet. So for the rest of the day, every doctor I talked to, instead of like saying hello, thought it was absolutely hilarious, and it's all they wanted to talk about. Like, the radiologist was like, looked at it and was like, what kind of dancing were you doing? And I was like, Michael Jackson, like Smooth Criminal. She's like, oh, really? Was it like a shaman? And I was like, well, no, it wasn't a shaman. It was like a normal dance move. I'm just bad at dancing. And she was like, oh. And I was like, she was looking at the x-ray, and that's not a word you want the radiologist to say. And I was like, what's wrong? And she says, well, you got to talk to the doctor because you're not going to be dancing for a while. And the doctor walks in and he says, doesn't say hello. He says, oh, looks like you busted a move, right? Everybody laughs. And I was like, what's going on now? He's like, yeah, look, you got to talk to my buddy, Bruce. You're lucky. Bruce isn't usually here, but he's here that day. And I was like, well, who's Bruce? He's like, Bruce is an orthopedic surgeon. So Bruce comes in. Bruce is the orthopedic surgeon also for the football team, and it's a football school. And so his bedside manner left a little bit to be desired, right? He walked in and was like, "What, were you doing the Watusi?" And I said, "I don't even know what dance that is." Like, I know, it was like Michael Jackson. It was Smooth Criminal. It wasn't a shaman. And he's like, "Look," "Look, man, yeah, your foot's all messed up. Like, see this? This is like this. Like, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like that." He's like, "If you were one of my guys, I would just give you a robo foot, no problem, and I'd send you back out on the field in like a week." I do not play football. But he said, "Look, your insurance won't pay for it, so I'm gonna do the next best thing for you, which is 4 to 6 weeks in a non-weight-bearing cast." And I was like, "That does not sound like the next best thing. That sounds terrible." And he says, "Yeah, that's what you get for breakdancing." And it took me a few weeks to really accept that that was actually a pretty good one. That was a pretty good joke. At the time, I did not think it was that funny. So I crutch home to my 3rd floor walk up, right? I get up to my apartment and my roommate's like, "Yeah, look, that didn't go the way that you wanted it to, but now you just got to rely on your network, right? You got to reach out to people. They got to help you." And it was my right foot, so I couldn't drive, right? So I sent an email to a student group and I said, "Look, guys, there's a meeting coming up, but it's in 2 towns over. I can't drive to it. If someone will pick me up and give me a ride, I have grievously injured myself dancing to Michael Jackson, and I will tell you that story and pay for gas." And I got an email from a classmate that said, "I will pick you up and drive you. I want to hear that story." And so I got picked up. I went to the meeting, told the story, and that was how I met my wife, Megan, who we've been married for 10 years in the next couple of months. And that is the story of the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you.
Bravo, baby. Good job, Michael. Hey, Michael, where are you?
Oh, Philadelphia. Yeah,
Philadelphia.
I picked this up on the First Person Arts forum here. Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate you joining us and sharing that story. And wherever you are, like literally the home in which you're in looks lovely. It's very light. It's lit well. Is that your wife's touch or yours?
Yeah. Oh no. No, that's just this being a 3-story row house and just having it face the right direction for this.
Oh yeah, lucky you, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it is sometimes sunny in Philadelphia, as I like to say.
Of course. You've got to make that reference from time to time. You know Steve Clark by any chance?
I do. Yeah. Steve is a force here. He's wonderful.
He's a force. He's good. I've invited him on, and he said yes a couple times and bailed. Not that I'm upset that you would bail at the. No, I'm just playing. He seems cool. Thanks for doing that and sharing that story. We got like an interesting little different types of stories, which is fun. I like that. Cool. I'm gonna mute you now, and you're gonna join us in the break. You muted yourself. Okay. Cool. So our final storyteller for part 1, round 1, beginning part. I will announce in a moment. When we get to the little break, and it's only going to be a few minutes, great time to go to the bathroom, perhaps. Of course, you could do that during as well, but hopefully you can stick around to listen to people. And I'm going to ask anybody who's not a storyteller this evening if they have a very brief, like 30 to 45-second anecdote that is connected to this theme if they want to share that. It's up to you. No pressure. All right? That'll be during the break. But before that, our 5th storyteller this evening is going to be from Vegas. What happens in Vegas does not necessarily always stay in Vegas. Bob Dancer is about to prove that. Bob, unmute yourself. Break a leg, sir.
Betty and I were waiting for the green bus. We were hoping a sailor got off. If a sailor gets off, we got to bring him home to mama. It's 1953. I'm 6 years old. Betty is 7. 3 days ago, one of my mother's nephews, Patrick Mahoney, who's a sailor stationed in Long Beach, which is about 20 miles south of where we live near Los Angeles, called and said in 3 days he'd have an 8-hour pass. Would we like a visitor? Mom says, of course we want a visitor. So she told him the bus lines to get, and they were going to drop him off at 1:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday. So Betty and I are there. Mom got a stack of Look magazines and Life magazines, and she found some pictures of sailors in uniform so we would know what a sailor uniform looked like. And I was excited because I have never seen a sailor before, and this is really pretty cool. So I am ready to ask any sailor who puts his foot on the ground if his name is Patrick Mahoney. But Betty, she asked him when he was still on the bus. And he said, "Are you Patrick Mahoney? We're Narma's children, and you're supposed to come with us." So Patrick nods and get down, and I'm bad at Betty because she jumped the gun. She's supposed to wait till he's on the ground. And then she says, "Would you like to hold my hand so you don't get lost?" He agrees again, and he gives me this bag to hold. And it's pretty heavy, and with both hands I can carry it, but I don't mind. I didn't want to hold his stupid hand anyway. So I'm walking behind them, and Betty is just chatting up a storm. And she has this stupid smile that I've never seen before. It's like, I don't understand. But 5 minutes later, we get home. Mama gives us water. And I remember thinking before we got home that I had heard a word before once. Just once. I'm not exactly sure what it means. But I'm thinking, my sister is a hussy. She is holding hands with a sailor that she just met. Think of that. What would a Sunday school teacher say? So, Mama gave him some water and started asking about this sister and that nephew and that aunt and that uncle and all kinds of people I've never heard of before. We didn't get out to see visitors very much from our home, but sometimes they came to see us, and whenever they came to see us, it was the first time I ever met them. Now, I was trying to wait quietly. I had my ball glove in my hand and my tennis ball. And every now and then I'd throw the ball up in the air and catch it, hoping Patrick took the hint. I wanted to play a game of catch. Now, my dad almost never had time to play catch with me, and Betty throws like a girl. So that really wasn't any good. Eventually, Patrick asked me what my favorite team is. And in Los Angeles, we have two teams. We have the Los Angeles Angels and the Hollywood Stars. They're both in the Pacific Coast League, and I like the Stars because they have really cool uniform, and the home run hitter is Dale Long. So Patrick knows some of these, so we talk about it. I'm thinking we're having a really adult conversation about adult things, and I'm pretty proud of myself. I finally get my game of catch, but it was ruined because Betty, that hussy, insists on playing too. So Betty would throw the ball to me, I would throw it to Patrick, and then he would lob it to her. And sometimes I would give him hot grounders or pop-up so he could practice, and he's pretty good. But Betty always just throws like that. During dinner, my dad asked him how long he's going to be in the Navy, and he says about 20 years. Betty's hanging on to every word like there's magic coming out of his mouth. She's just so enthralled. So after dinner, Dad drives him back to the ship. Betty and I are in the back seat. Mama stayed home to put the younger kids to bed. Almost to Long Beach, Betty asked Patrick, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Now, Patrick thinks about this, and he says, "Yes, I have a girlfriend, and she's in Seattle, and she wouldn't like it if he also had a girlfriend in California." So as much as he liked Betty, and as pretty as he thought Betty was, it just couldn't be boyfriend and girlfriend. Betty got very quiet. At the ship, we all got out. I gave him a handshake that I'd been practicing. Betty gave him a big hug. She hugged him around his waist because that's how high she was. And he stepped back and he gave our entire family a sharp salute. Now, my dad had been in the Army, so he knew how to salute back. Betty and I kind of did the best we could. And then he turned around and walked to the ship. Now, then I said, "Divvy's on the front seat," because I wanted to sit in the front seat where Patrick had been. I expect Betty to fight with me over it, but she didn't. She crawled into the back seat, faced towards the trunk, put a coat over her head. I asked my dad if she's all right. He said probably she might have had her first broken heart. I said, is a broken heart like a heart attack? Danny Shoemaker's dad died from a heart attack. And he goes, no, it's not like that. She's not going to die. I think she wanted Patrick as a boyfriend. But Betty is 7 and Patrick is 19. And Patrick knew it wouldn't work, so he let her off easy. She'll be fine. Now, I didn't know anything about broken hearts, but I really knew what had happened. This is what she deserves when she's a hussy and gives her heart to a sailor. Thank you.
Good job, Bob. You got some strong feelings there about your hussy family, don't you? Bob, do you still feel, Bob, have those feelings lessened over the years, or you still feel just as strongly now?
Well, Betty is 74 years old now, has been married to the same guy for over 50 years. She has 4 kids. Nobody in their right mind would call her a hussy. Right. Probably no adult back then would call her a hussy, but
perfect. Little
brothers know everything, so I did.
That's right. Thank you for sharing that. I enjoyed your story. All right, so let's do this. It's 7:51. We're going to reconvene at 7:55. And for those that want to stay engaged, if you aren't one of the 10 storytellers or a judge, and you have a little anecdote you'd like to share, really like, keep it brief, but I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear different people's little mini stories that might be related to the theme, or even just something that's on your mind, as long as it's short. Just unmute yourself and share away, or you can just relax. If I had music, you had. Anna, you got something?
Yeah, actually, I was just gonna, for that short little window, I can give the context of how I know you and that little piece. Okay. So I was living in Argentina. My family is from Argentina, and oh, perfect timing. My partner just showed up, so there's the sound background thing that we have to do. And I was living in Argentina, and I was looking for something to do with expats. And I get there, I'm 18, maybe 19, and I see this thing that says comedy for people from around the world. So I sign up. I meet these guys. They're funny. They make everybody laugh. Amazing. The time I sign up, they're like, "You're gonna do great, kid. You're gonna kill this," etc. By the way, this is George and Travis. Hi. Okay. And so then do you want me to take the George? Okay. And then it's okay, so I'll finish. And so then essentially here, I go to this comedy thing. I go up there. I've been practicing a whole week. This guy, Sean, he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to make him proud. So I go, I tell everybody this, little comedy set. I had, how long was it, Sean? I think it was like 3 minutes, a 3-minute set or something. It felt like an eternity. Yeah. It felt like an eternity. And the entire time, not only did I not make people laugh, I offended people. I made them sad. I made them mad. No one was happy. And at the very last minute, I look at my wristwatch to see how long I had left, and everyone died of laughter. They were so relieved that this sweet little girl was about to finish. When I finally finished this traumatic experience, which I will never forget, the only compliment that I got was a backhanded one, where this guy comes up to me, grabs me on the shoulder, he's like, and I had really long curly blonde hair, and he looks at me and he's like, if you stuck to stoner pot jokes, you'd do better, because you look kind of like a stoner. And he walked away. And I thought to myself, well, hey, at least he liked my really long stoner looking hair. So thanks, Sean, for that amazing traumatic experience.
I'm glad that I was able to provide a little bit of that for you.
It was great.
Anyway, and thanks for judging again, because it looks like from our inner working conversation here on our Facebook thread that the judges are convening and having important conversations about your stories.
Oh, you guys are all incredible. This is so cool, Sean. This is so cool. I don't know. I just can't even say anything until the very end, but I'm going to reach out to these people because I have so many questions.
Right. But that's a good segue. If anybody has any other questions they want to ask publicly or to the storyteller, please do. It might be easier on the chat for now. And if anybody has any thoughts in general they want to share with everyone about the storytellers, a specific storyteller, by all means, share it. I don't have any. You know what, Sharon, can you unmute yourself for a moment? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
Sharon's one of our storytellers. Sharon, what is a good prompt before we dive back into the final 5 storytellers? What do you think is a good prompt we can ask people to share in the chat? A word about their lives, a feeling. You're good at this. You're better than I am at this.
Wait, what's our goal? Just to share?
You're putting me on the spot now. You decide on the goal.
All
you
right.
do this. You sorry, but yeah.
Yeah. So I would go with me, comma, now. Me now. Anyone who wants to share me now.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, in other words, you, each speaker, what's going on now? That's there.
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Sean, or did you have something else in mind?
No, I just want to make sure people are clear on that.
Yeah, so me now. Whoever wants to share what's going on with you now, inside or outside, internally, externally, whatever the deal is.
All right. I'm down. Either way. You know what I've been learning with these Zoom, or it doesn't have to be Zoom, but I'm using Zoom. If you're at a live show, Stephanie, I'm curious how you feel about this, and anyone else who knows, like, you have to be on, right? Like, it's boom, boom, boom. But with these Zoom things, it's tricky to tell, but you can do like a couple minutes break. And it's fine because people are just like, you know, in their underwear, like looking at their body parts and like, oh, that's more interesting than Sean. You know, so like you could give them their space a little bit. Like, not forever. But you got your dog there, and you got cucumbers to chop, and you've got different things that can, like right now, it's such an interesting window. I have mine on gallery view, and some people are just like looking at the camera, which makes sense, or looking at their computers, but other people are like doing something. Like Judah, I don't know Judah, but he's doing something, and I'm wondering, I don't care what you're doing, but like, it's so interesting. Like, what else is Judah doing?
I'm yelling to my son that it's time to go up.
Right.
And I'm also ripping the pages off the daily calendar, which has not been ripped since Sunday.
Got you. Real quick, I might as well say a quick hello to people I don't know. Where are you tuning in from?
I am in Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes drive outside of Philadelphia.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
All right. We'll hop back in 1 minute. Everybody else has their video off. There's several people. James Coop is here. He's in North Carolina. He's a dance friend. He's always making appearances, showing his handsome face, sometimes without a shirt. Are you going shirtless tonight, James, or do you have a shirt with it? Yeah, I see Anna's here. She's in South Dakota, I believe. Right, Anna? Cool. Nodding. You're on a couch. I'm wondering where that, like, it looks like a nice, comfy couch. Just little things that are popping in my head. Judith's from Elkins Park. Cool. All right. And Brenda's doing something that might make you nauseous if you look, so you might not want to look too long. And it's even weirder when you're not able to talk, but we can see your lips. It's like almost as if the nausea, you can't talk and we can't hear sound. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just moving from the dark indoors of my cabin that I'm staying in.
Okay.
To lovely outdoors.
And where are you, Brenda?
I'm in Denville, New Jersey. At a
Okay.
lake. Yeah.
All right.
Just
So
getting away from Manhattan for a little while.
Awesome. So we've got people from several time zones here, which is cool. Judith, I haven't forgotten about you up there, which is the perfect way to describe how I'm viewing you right now. Up there. Maybe she can't hear me. She's like, get the fuck away from me. All right. Our 6th storyteller this evening. First five storytellers absolutely crushed it. I know people always say that. But this has been really good. Like, really solid. Our 6th storyteller this evening, I want to make sure that everybody who might be telling is here. I see 3. Either way. She is here. I do see her. Real quick, Sharon, I just want to make sure that my judges are back from any... Judges, you can hear me, so I'm going to give this like 10 seconds. Please let me know if you're not available in the messenger. But I assume you are. Our next storyteller, number 6 this evening, from North Carolina, but staying in Ohio, Sharon Eisner. Give it up.
So when I was little, I used to get lost all the time. not because I'm spacey, although I am a little spacey, not because I didn't have a good sense of direction. I used to get lost on purpose. Can you raise your hand if your family is a little different or dysfunctional or, yeah. Okay, so me, so way too. And growing up, you never know. You think your stuff is normal, but I knew it was not normal for plates and china to be getting thrown. I knew it wasn't normal to have quite that much cursing. I knew it wasn't normal, to just not be able to talk about anything. Everything is like very secret, and people hiding and people getting shoe lickings. I've still not met anybody else who's had a shoe licking. It's when you get in trouble and you're on your bed and you have to, your mom counts till you turn over, and that's how many shoe lickings you get with your dad's shoe. Anyway, I just knew it's got to be better than this. There's got to be a family that is more normal than this. So I had this little fantasy kind of going in my brain where I'd get lost. Some other family would find me and they would love me. They would appreciate me, because in my family, my brother was a writer and my sister was the artist and my other sister was the smart one. And there really wasn't a role for me. I was always just kind of left behind with my mom, who was an undiagnosed, manic depressive person. So that was difficult. And I just had this plan that one day someone's going to find me and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is such a wonderful little girl. We're going to bring you home and you're going to join our family and all would be well, like a fairy tale. So I got lost everywhere. I got lost at Magic Mountain and at the rodeo. Oh, that's a whole story. The clown returned me. But anyway, I got lost everywhere. I remember one time in Disneyland, and, I kind of just purposely stayed behind everyone when we read around the teacups. And it was easy to stay behind my family because we're 4 kids and we had cousins and we had friends and who knows what all. So they never even missed me. And eventually a very nice lady found me. She didn't adopt me, but she introduced me to a nice policeman. And the policeman brought me to this lovely area with toys and very nice people. And they gave me ice cream, which probably wasn't kosher, which was wonderful. I love not kosher things. So it was already an adventure. I loved it. So my parents were quite annoyed with me for getting lost all the time. They just thought I was a spacey kid. And then I had one experience that kind of changed my mindset on getting lost. And we were visiting Tijuana, Mexico. It was my family and my cousins. There were about 8 or 9 of us. And it was a pretty crowded place and everybody was shouting. All the vendors were in the street, $1, $1, $1. And then we were in a store and I was looking at a painting of Elvis on velvet with one tear. And it was so beautiful. And then I just kind of wandered outside and I saw these dolls. There were female dolls in these pretty flowered dresses and male dolls with these little hats. And I wanted to ask my mom if I could get a doll. And so I held on to the person next to me and I tugged on her skirt and I looked up and it wasn't my mom. And I looked around and I didn't see my mom and I didn't see anyone in my family. And at that point, I became very acutely aware of the fact that I was in a foreign country. And I can't remember exactly how old, 6, 7. And I was frickin' lost. And I became very aware that this was no longer a fun adventure. And I was ready to cry. And I don't cry when I'm lost. I get excited when I'm lost. But at this point, I'm hearing Spanish all around me. And all of a sudden, this lady who was manning the cart near me, she leans down, she bends down, and she starts speaking Spanish to me, which I do not understand. I don't understand. I'm like, and I start wailing. And the lady tries to take my hand, but I don't give her my hand. I don't want to go with a stranger, right? And then she pulls people around. Anyway, this is what's going on in my mind. That's it. That's it for my life as an American citizen. The family that's going to find me, they're just going to, in my mind, I thought, well, if I don't speak the language, I guess I'll just be a slave. I guess I'll just be working for them. Anyway, it was such a horrible thought. So this lady winds up picking me up and putting me on her table, which was even worse because she was one of the ladies yelling, $1, $1, $1. And I have to tell you, I don't know much, but I know I'm worth more than $1. And this lady thought I was worth $1 and I'm crying. And then I feel my dad's arms around me. She had put me up there so that my parents would see me. And I feel my dad's arms around me and I smell his leather jacket. And he says, it's okay, Sharon, I've got you. And he gives the lady a lot more than $1. I see 20s in that stack. And he puts me down and he holds my hand. And that was the last time I tried to get lost. Because somewhere in my little brain, I figured out, you know what? Could be worse, man. Could be worse.
Stop. Lost in Mexico.
Thank you.
Lost in Mexico. Huh. But you're okay now?
For the most part.
You got, okay. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. All right, cool. So, 6 stories down, 4 to go. Afterwards, we'll have a few minutes while the judges do their tallies, and we'll talk a little bit about the prizes and a couple of other events that are coming up. And of course, if you want to stay here on this with us and chat, it's usually fun, I think, for those that have been on with us. So if you can do that, that would be wonderful. All right. Our 7th storyteller. Sharon's getting some love. Send the storytellers some love. Send them some messages to everyone or privately. Laying their hearts out there. Our 7th story this evening, another cat from Vegas. Richard Munchkin, when you're ready, unmute yourself, break a leg.
Thank you. Hold on just a second. All right.
Take your time.
I'm standing in the dark. I'm nervous. And I look down at my left arm at the Nazi armband around my bicep. Next to me is another kid. I'm 13 years old. He's a year older. He gives me a nudge and we step out into the light onto a stage for the first time in my life. I am Nazi number 2. I don't have any lines, but after a couple of performances, I get moved up to Nazi number 1. And now I have 1 line. And I'm hooked. Suddenly I have found what I want to do with the rest of my life, and the path is clear. I have a straight road ahead of me. I'm going to finish high school, I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to make my way to Los Angeles and become a movie star. But on the off chance that somehow that doesn't come, I have, of course, a backup plan. I will do television. So that's what I do. I finish high school and college, and eventually I make my way to Los Angeles, and now I'm an actor. So I'm trying to get an agent, and I'm trying to get a SAG card, but you know, I go and I get parts in plays, and so I'm in a little play of Medea in a theater that seats 45 people. And I'm with another show that the theater is so small that they have to put porta potties in the alley behind the theater because there are no toilets backstage for the actors. But I'm loving it. I mean, it's showbiz, right? And so I get my first part in a movie. It's an ABC Movie of the Week. And I have no lines, but I'm what they call a special extra. So I have my own bit with another actor. And comes time when it's going to premiere on ABC, and I invite friends and family, and everybody's there, my grandparents, and the movie starts, and the main character is walking down the street, and I say, this is it. As soon as he walks up those steps and opens the door, I'm right on the other side, and I've got this scene. And he walks up, and he pulls the door open, and it cuts upstairs to the room where the murder happened, and my scene had been cut entirely. And the room goes silent, but I learned, so the next time I got a part in a movie, I didn't invite anybody to see it. And sure enough, that movie, I see it and my scene comes and I've got a couple of lines, but I'm 50 feet away in the back of my head. It looks like my words are coming out of an ant in the back of the screen. But hey, I'm still chugging along. It's not exactly what I thought it would be, but I'm going along. And then one day I get a call from my agent. She's like, we have an audition for a movie. And I'm like, great. So I go to the audition and I prepare and I go into the room and the casting director is on the telephone. But there's a guy up in the front of the room and he's got a camera and he waves me up and I go up there and I give him my picture and my resume and he starts the camera and he says, okay, go ahead. And I'm waiting because the casting director is still talking on the phone. And then from the back of the room, she says, that's okay, just go ahead. And I said, well, I can wait for you to finish your phone call. And she says, no, that's okay, just go ahead. So I gave my audition and she talked on the phone throughout the whole thing. And shortly after that, I get a call from my agent. She's like, we've got an audition for a commercial. Now, a year or two ago, this would have been like, I would have been over the moon, like, great, a commercial audition. But the first thing that goes through my head is, I wonder how I can get out of this. And I knew it was over. You know, I had spent my whole life thinking this is what I wanted to do. And in that moment, I knew I no longer wanted to do it. And now that road that had been so clear in front of me had vanished. And I had no idea where to go or what to do. And my identity had been tied up in the idea that I was an actor. And if I'm not an actor anymore, well, then where do I go? And for that matter, who am I? Thank you.
Boom. Great job, Richard. You know the question that's coming, right?
What
Where
happened?
did you go and who did you become?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
I know. All right,
Maybe
for
after if we hang out after.
Right. We'll do that after because we want to keep that story its own story, contained, start, middle, end, so we won't hear about that. But I am curious. I have an idea, like, because I kind of know where you live, but details matter. Thanks for sharing that. Showbiz, baby. So many broken hearts. Yeah, I think like half the people on this might be able to empathize with that specific journey. So cool. Richard, you got some messages coming in, including from James Cooper that says snap, snap, snap. And he doesn't do that very often or very easily, so well done. All right, our 8th storyteller this Tuesday evening in June, the year where everything changed. The other storyteller who tonight is the first time I am meeting, Andrew. Whenever you're ready, take your time, unmute, and knock yourself and break a leg. Hang on. Cool.
For almost a decade in my late 20s and early 30s, the most significant relationship I had was with a man I'd never met. That's one of the hazards that they never told me about when I decided to get a PhD in literature. The object of my affliction was T. Carragus Boyle, or more mundanely, T.C. Boyle. Why him? Well, he was everything that I wanted to be. He was a professor at a prestigious university. He was a famous writer. He was a bestseller, and he even appeared back in the day on the David Letterman show. And most importantly, I felt like I could find all the answers that I was looking for in his novels and short stories. Now, I'd always loved school. When I was in kindergarten, on my very first official report card, my teacher wrote that I was the perfect student. And I tried to live up to that. It wasn't that hard, really, because I was smart and easygoing and people liked me. But I realized at a young age that I liked acquiring knowledge. I liked getting smarter. I liked the surety of knowing things. And I liked school because I was around people who had answers. That's why I admired teachers so much. Who was smarter than they were? They had all the answers. Of course, it wasn't until much, much later that I realized that in many cases, they only had the answers because they literally had the answers in their teacher's editions, but that didn't change my mind. I went to college and I became an English major. which meant that I could read novels in bed while my roommate would struggle with thick finance textbooks as he punched the numbers on his special calculator. When the end of my undergraduate days came, I decided to stay in school and get a master's degree. I would continue my learning, and this time it would be at the feet of graduate school professors. Here are some of the things I learned in graduate school. Dr. Rogers would lament every day that the water fountains in the hallways didn't dispense wine, as they most assuredly would have if Wordsworth were still around. And Mr. Sweeney sought answers in the brand of scotch for which he was the model for their label. About the only person I met in that department who had any real answers was Rebecca, the department secretary. But to be fair, she didn't have the answers. She would just sell you the questions because she had access to every professor's exams. And to be fair, she didn't sell them so much as barter them. She offered me the questions for my comprehensive exams for the small price of a George Foreman grill. I declined. These certainly didn't seem like people who had all the answers, but by that point, my graduate school arrogance was in full bloom, and I figured they were just doing it wrong. And because I was good at graduate school, I figured I'd continue on. I enrolled in a PhD program because if you're going to be spending so much time accumulating knowledge, you might as well get some letters after your name that maybe you can use to get some restaurant reservations now and then. Plus, I discovered Boyle. Now, when you get a dissertation, some of you may know, it's not supposed to be your life's work, but it definitely feels like your life's work. You put your life on hold and you focus all of your energy on these esoteric things that feel so important. But with time and the perspective that comes with it, you realize it's not that important at all. But in the moment, if you don't treat it like it's your life's work, then what's the point? I couldn't imagine telling any of my classmates that this wasn't my life's work. They would have tarred and feathered me, or at least shunned me in a cynical and scholarly condescending way. My masterpiece, my dissertation was called Satiric Ambition, because you have to have a colon in your title, the self-conscious author in the short stories of T. Carruthers and Boyle. It took a swipe at Harold Bloom's seminal work, as it showed how Boyle consciously and playfully inserted himself into the persona in his characters. As I wrote it, I pictured my future. After my defense, I would accept the inevitable tenure-track job I'd be offered. And then I would spend 40 years or so teaching and simultaneously turning it into a lovable but irascible campus institution. And then I'd retire. The first step was the dissertation defense. This is when you face the professors on your dissertation committee and they pepper you with questions. It's designed, as someone told me, to make you shine, to make you look smart. But as with everything in the dissertation process, I found it to be incredibly nerve-wracking. So I passed my defense. Won my defense? I don't know. Whatever it was, I became Dr. Shelfo, an acknowledged expert on T.C. Boyle. And I did get a job at a university, but it didn't last. I became disillusioned with academia, and I moved into technology. I'm still there. I haven't read a Boyle story in years. Almost 20 years after my defense, I was eating breakfast in a hotel in New York City with my 12-year-old son. I happened to look up, and I saw him there, Boyle, sitting alone at a table for two. I recognized him immediately, and my heart began to pump, the way it does when you unexpectedly see an ex. I wanted to go over there and introduce myself. I wanted to get a picture with him. You see that guy over there, I said to my son? That's the guy I did my dissertation on. He stopped chewing and he thought for a second. What's a dissertation, he said. Well, I said, it's like a book. You're right to get your PhD. He turned and looked at Boyle, then he turned back to me. Wait, you wrote a book on that guy? He obviously didn't think that Boyle looked dissertation worthy. But what did he know? The last book he read was an autobiography of Tom Brady. So I ignored his comment because I couldn't figure out how to explain it to him, and because I wanted to get over to Boyle's table before he left and tell him that I was a big fan, and tell him that I'd written my dissertation on him, and tell him that he changed my life. But when I looked up again, Boyle was gone. Maybe if I was still a professor, I could come up with a clever explanation about how that almost encounter was an allegory for my life. But I'm not anymore. And all I can think about is just how sad and disappointed it all made me feel.
Boom. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Andrew, where are you? Where are you?
I am in East Hampton, Massachusetts. That's Western Massachusetts by the Berkshires.
Yep. Another Massachusetts person. They're everywhere.
we're
I
everywhere.
don't know what's going on up there in New England, but you're making
However,
your
I
presence known.
grew up in New Jersey, and I'm very familiar with the Denville area. So
Oh, cool.
there's that too.
Is she still on? Yeah. I hadn't met. Yeah, interesting. We got some Denver. So just to remind you, we have 2 more storytellers, and then after the last storyteller, you're gonna vote, and your vote's gonna determine second place. Some of you have probably been writing down names, others maybe not. So I think now there's 2 left. Just a real quick recap, and then we'll do it again at the end, okay? I don't want to let anybody be like left behind. So if you want to grab a pen real quick, if you know you don't need a pen and you just sort of go with whoever resonates with you, that's of course your choice. So Andrew just went. I'm not going to tell you about the story. I'll give you like a 1-word overview. You might not like it, but Boyle. That's what you got, Andrew. Richard, Showbiz, Sharon, Mexico, Bob, Hussy, Howard, Shiva, David. I was caught, David, between heroin or dad, so I'm going to go with dad. I know it could have been a few. Tough job here. I mean, it's a tough gig. Mike, injury, and Cat, race. Just to give you sort of, those were the 8 storytellers so far, and that was just a little hashtag type blurb of what their thing was about. All you're going to do is send the name. You don't have to give me a score. You're just going to send the name. So whatever works for you. Okay? Cool. And you've got some messages rolling in, so I'm sure some of them are towards Andrew and his story. Andrew, the name Boyle, it's just a very good name for the story. Boyle. It's a
Is
good
that because
name.
you thought of it yourself?
No, I just love his, like, it's just a Boyle.
It does. It's a good word.
Something about the particular letters and, yeah, one consonant. All right, we've got 2 storytellers left. One of them is in Tucson, Arizona. The other is in Chicago, Illinois. And it's random. I'm not playing favorites. I typically don't. And our 9th storyteller this evening, who is currently adjusting her camera, she's no stranger to showbiz, folks.
True.
From suburban Chicago, Steph Rogers. Give it
Hey. Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot. It's shocking that they let somebody like me sing lead singing material at a church every week. I'm not churchy. I've never been churchy. I live with a lot of neurotic doubt about church, about religion, because I just can't really buy in. But I also do not want bad shit to happen, especially in the afterlife, which is scary and spooky. And I'm kind of drawn to Buddhism or spirituality, but I am not religious. So why am I the church singer? Also, I am about to do something illegal. It's the very end of 2017. We're doing our little church gig, and at the end of our last song, one of the church ladies approaches me, and she comes up to me on the bandstand, which is called something else other than a bandstand. I don't know what, an altar, something. Anyway, she's in her late 50s, and she dresses like a middle-aged suburban mom, and she says, "Steph, do you think you could get me some weed?" And I think, what? And then I think, oh, because I'm in the band, you think like I have access to drug dealers and I do drugs? It's a fucking church band. But I realize that I'm probably all she has got. So I say, yeah, Beth, I'll get you some weed. And I don't even think for 1 second about how stupid it would be to get caught buying drugs in Illinois. It's illegal. Rules are strict here. And also, I am the mother of a teenage boy whom I lecture daily, practically daily, about all the bad things about drugs and alcohol, because addiction runs very, very deep in our family. I'm afraid of drugs. I don't like what they do to my brain. I don't like what they've done to my family. Yet here I am casually telling the church lady that I'm going to score for her. But the reason I do it is because Beth is the entire reason why I sing at the church in the first place. This one time when I was singing a song called Healer, and the words are, by the way, "I believe you're my healer," and it's about Jesus, I thought, what a fucking hypocrite I am, singing this song, pretending like I really mean it, putting my whole heart into it, and I do not embrace the words. I can't get behind it. So I'm a phony. So why am I singing this? And I was thinking that as I was singing the song. And right when I was thinking that, I look over at Beth, and she sits in that same church pew every single week on the right side, the third pew back. And she has tears in her eyes as I'm singing that song. And she looks at me and she has this loving, incredibly thankful look on her face with the tears in her eyes. Because Beth fucking loves that song. And I knew right then that this church singing gig that I do is not about me at all. So I'm driving in the frigid cold in Chicago to my drug dealer, trying to not get noticed by the cops who always catch me, who always pull me over because cops just freak me out. And I know that they know that I'm freaked out by them. I've had a few run-ins. Let's not talk about cops. There's plenty of stuff out there. But anyway, I'm here doing my girl Beth a solid by scoring some drugs. My drug dealer has screened me on social media and through friends who set up this connection. So I have an address, I have an appointment, and I have $200 in cash. I pull up. I am beyond belief uncomfortable now. I'm nervous. No one would ever expect this of me. And it's the last thing I really want to be doing. I park my car slightly down the block because even though I'll have to walk a little further in the cold, I've seen a few spy films, so I know. I walk up to the house and I ring the bell, and a woman in her 70s answers the door, and she says, "Hi, are you Stephanie?" And I say, "Yeah." And she says, "Come on in. My drug dealer is somebody's grandma. Somebody's grandma who lives in Glencoe, Illinois, Howard." The whole house reeks of pot, marijuana. There's a huge shelf there with dozens of options, gummies, candies, brownies, cookies, and trail mix. And the Glencoe grandma asks me if I want to try anything. I say, no, no, thanks. This is not for me. And she says, "Oh, who is it for then, dear?" And suddenly my drug dealer seems a little nervous. You can't give my name or any of this information to anyone. You know that. You cannot tell anybody where you got this. You understand? And so I quickly, very quickly grab a few items off the shelves and I throw the cash on the table, and I'm just nervous. I don't know her. She doesn't know me. I'm sure she's very nice, but this is weird and it's not legal. And I grab the stash and she wraps it in a little Christmas bag with a matching little bow, and I get the hell out of there. And I drive straight to Beth's house, and I know where Beth lives because she's the minister's wife and they live on the church property. And I drop the bag at the back door and I jump back in my car, extremely relieved to be done with what I have done, because Beth is very, very sick. She's been in and out of the hospital. She weighs 85 pounds. She has no hair. It's amazing she's still alive. She's been diagnosed with very, very advanced cancer. For the last 5 years, she's been grappling with pancreatic cancer. Maybe her belief in Christianity has helped her survive this long, or maybe it's the fact that she has all those church people praying for her every week. I don't know. What I realize is that sometimes I just need to set myself aside. Beth needed the weed, and she knew she could trust me. And now we have this little secret every week at church. Jesus is her healer, but I'm her dealer. And every time I sing at the church, whether it is Jesus, you're my healer, or I'm a sinner, or anything else that I just cannot really personally embrace, I'm sorry to say, I just look over at Beth and I think, maybe there is a God. Thanks.
So, Steph, you just pulled that out of your ass. You didn't prepare anything, huh? How about that?
Yeah, because fuck you.
Just made that up on the spot there, Miss Story Savant. Okay.
Girls got to survive around here, man.
Right. No, well done. I love it. The drug dealing. Yep. Grandma. Well done. Yeah. When everybody's when Mary Jo's gonna be our final storyteller, Mary Jo over in Tucson, Arizona, in a moment. And if you can stick around, I want to give people a chance to either talk a little bit about what they do. Some people are involved in other storytelling organizations. You can put it in the chat whenever you want, links to your stuff so people can see it. Some people will probably stay on after, and some might leave. So just put it in there and get a few new fans in your tribe. All right, so our final storyteller this evening is coming to us from Tucson, Arizona. She's been waiting patiently. So please, everyone, give it up for Mary Jo.
Not everybody drops out of college in the middle of their senior year. I did. I'm heading to Los Angeles from St. Paul, Minnesota in January 1970. No more Minnesota winters for me. 20 years I spent as an insurance underwriter and then a realtor, and every now and then I would think, oh, I never finished college, I should take some classes. And I took a class here and there, and nothing resonated with me. And I just kept going on. And I always did like art, and art is sort of in my DNA. When I was 8 or 9 years old, my grandmother started teaching me needlework, and I figured out how to make jewelry. And I made a lot of different types of jewelry even before I was a teenager. And it's always been really important to me to have a project going. I always have several projects at a time. And when I come home, every day, no matter what, I pick something up and I work on it. Even if it's only for 10 or 15 minutes, it lets me unwind and relax. And except for sex, art and my projects are the only things that excite me. After about 12 or 13 years of selling real estate, I started to take a few art classes at El Camino College, the community college near where I lived. And it was fun. You know, there were lots of different people there, and I was just taking classes that I liked, except for Algebra fucking Bra. But I took art classes and construction technology, and it was so much fun. I was meeting all these people and learning so much stuff. And then after a few years of working full-time as a real estate agent and taking 1 or 2 classes a semester, I thought, I think I'll get my degree. And so I researched furniture programs at art schools, and I applied to California College of the Arts in Oakland and San Francisco, and I was accepted. And in December of '94, I moved to Oakland from LA to begin school in January of 1995. And CCA was a bit different from community college, but it was a lot of fun, and I met a lot of interesting people as well, but most of them were under 25. So we had sometimes little communication differences, and we also had differences in our music selection in the wood shop during open hours. And I thought if I heard "I'll ride through the desert on a horse with no name" one more time, I was going to blow up. So I tossed in some Stones, B.B. King, and Lou Reed onto the CD pile so that I could listen to something I liked every now and then. And when I was there, I thought about, you know what, when I was at the University of Minnesota, I took a bunch of tests, and it did say that I should be an artist, but when I was there, I never took an art class. And when I went away to college, all my friends said, "Why are you going away to an art school? That's completely ridiculous. Get something practical. Go get your business degree or an accounting degree or something." But that would be like college the first time. And nobody understood when I said, I don't care if I never make a dime as an artist. I know I can support myself. I'm a competent person, but I'm going for my heart. I'm not trying to be practical. And I was really glad that I did it. And during the first semester at CCA, I turned 47. And at that time I thought, you know, I'm going to make it a goal to get my degree before I turn 50. And in May of 1997, 11 months before my 50th birthday, I received a Bachelor of Fine Arts from California College of the Arts in wood furniture. And my family came from Minnesota. They came from LA. Friends came from LA. I had a big party at a Thai restaurant. We drank champagne. We ate Thai food and cake, and it was fantastic. And I had a wonderful time. And then most of them came back 11 months later because I throw such a good party. They came for the big 5-0.
Boom! Well done, Miss Pollock. So you went back to get the art degree and you got it. Mary Jo, do you have a piece of furniture that you've designed that we can get a quick shot of? Can you could put your camera? I would love to see something.
Yeah.
Great.
I have to clear something on it.
It's not going exactly as I planned, but this is what you get when you're an impromptu type. All right, so the judges are going to be tallying up their scores while Mary Jo finds her piece of furniture that she's going to share.
I know where it is.
Send me, hang on, Mary Jo, hang on one sec. Please send me one name. That name is who you think is, it doesn't matter if you think, give me who you think is best, who you enjoyed the most. They will get second place behind our judge's choice. But that makes the most sense to me. I hope it makes the most sense to you. One name, not yourself.
Not yourself.
We can
If
all
you vote for yourself, you're disqualified, even if the judges put you as number one, and you know that too. Come on.
we all put a name, send you a name, right?
Everybody private message me one name that's not you, that you think should be the winner. Or however you want to frame that. It's going to take me and the judges like another minute or two. So before the big announcement, and I know everybody's sort of like super tense here. Let us see. All right, the names are coming in.
So I have to send you the name before I show you my piece of furniture.
Okay, whatever works. All right, so they're coming in. Wow, this is interesting. I will say there's a lot of different, and I'm not surprised, a lot of different names. And stop, somebody's voting for me. Stop. You guys are so silly. Okay.
That means it's a good night if you're getting a lot of different names. That's nice.
I know.
Yeah. Everybody was good.
Just make sure everybody sends it, because there's 24 people on minus 3 judges and me. That's 20. So I could get up to 20 here.
20.
So we'll give it another at 8:40. We'll announce the winner, and right now it's 8:38.
I'm modeling my table.
Ooh.
Wow.
Here's the top.
Oh.
And I turned the legs.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And what I did was I did something that my instructor said nobody's ever done. I glued up 4 pieces of wood and turned them and then sawed them apart. So I had 4 identical, but they're only a quarter round. Oops. And then they're half, and then they're flat on the inside. And now I just knocked the top off.
Anybody else? We got nice. Mary Jo, I apologize. I was doing something. Can you show that again real quick?
Seriously? Yeah, just a second. I have to plug my computer in. Or I will be gone, and so will the table. All right.
She sent to Jack or Joey?
All right, let's see.
All right.
Here
And
we
the
go.
other thing is, if for whatever reason the storyteller has opted to not stay on, unfortunately, they cannot claim the first or second spot. I mean, that's fair too. I should have said that
Oh,
before.
and this table was made all with reclaimed wood as well.
Wow.
This
So
is a little
gorgeous.
side table. I put it to the chair. It holds a book and some water and whatever.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
And
before we announce the top 2 finishers this evening, obviously you all did amazingly well. Howard just put in the chat, and I concur 100%. They were all better than the National Storytelling Network Slammers, and I was on there, and I give them props for trying. They did good, but this was different level. Like, it just was. Sometimes you have to say that. It may not be popular, but y'all were better. Period. So thank you.
You know what? I think it was really hard to put down of all the storytellers. Like, I was trying to do a score, so I gave sort of Kat like a. No, I'm just saying what I did.
No, okay, yep. And
so Kat became the baseline.
I know.
And then I would be like, is someone better or someone less?
I know.
And I did it that way, and all the scores were like really tight.
Very tight, very close.
Yeah.
It really was interesting because there was like different stories, but they all had their own interesting things and were crafted well and shared well. And and if anybody has any ideas moving forward for ideas on how to make it a little more fair for that, particularly for that first person, I would love to hear it. I just don't know any way around it.
There really isn't. The first person is sacrificial lamb in some ways.
Right.
You should be the first person every time, Sean.
Right. Or should I, if there's somebody that I don't like that's on here, should I just make pretend? Is that fair to make pretend that it's random and arbitrary, but I have them go first?
Hey.
No.
I mean, like somebody you flipped off one time?
Right. There are so few benefits to hosting. Take them where you can get them.
Right. No, totally. All right. I hope you'll stick around. I'm going to announce the winner. The 2 top finishers. We'll talk prizes. I've got a few options. Just so you know, real quick, and then we'll sort of come to a close and then stay on if you want. Next week, Tuesday evening at the same time, we have something called Story Flash, which has been a lot of fun. It's sort of the world of improvisation meets story, one-word prompts, and you go and you share a short true story. And it's thus far been very fun and enjoyable, and a lot of people who are on here tonight have also been on here. So if that's something you want to check out, if you go to the group Life in the Time of Corona, and I can send you that link, you can find more information about it. Okay, without further ado, let's just rock this out here. Our first place this evening, and this is the only person who's going to have a score, but their average score was 9.6.
Oh my God.
Wow.
The average score for our winner was 9.6, and right now I'm thinking, what else can I do to drag this out, create a little more suspense
after the
share
break?
This person's name, the winner of this week's Slam Bam Slam Slam from Chicago, Illinois, Steph Rogers.
No way!
Unmute yourself. Stop with this false humility. You know you crushed it.
I want to thank my mother.
She doesn't want to know you. She doesn't want to know you, Steph. Buying drugs in Glencoe. In Glencoe. God, shame on you.
Steph, you are the winner.
Wow.
Congratulations. This is really not relevant, but there was something that in Steph's world that I won. And now you've won something in my world.
Yeah.
Your prize will be much less than what I got. Steph was really, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm very petty.
Contest. Everybody should do it. We're going to do it next month. We do a contest, like a 90-second storytelling contest.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, I'm going to announce the second person, and then I'm going to give everybody, but particularly the storytellers, a little opportunity to plug. I don't like that word, but you know what I'm saying. Second place, and this is by the audience vote. I received this name more than anybody else's name. He sits there with his hand on his chin like he's not expecting this, and he knows it's him, Michael Murphy, Philadelphia.
Oh, thank you guys. Oh, man.
The audience loves you, baby.
Oh, that's great. I did not expect that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's really great.
Yeah. So we'll talk prizes. Just so you know, I'm petty. I'm cheap and I'm broke, so don't expect much. It's mostly symbolic, but you'll get something. So we'll talk about that. Michael, I'm gonna friend you on Facebook if that's an okay way to communicate.
Totally.
And Steph, I have your information. So let's go around real quick. And you know what? Let's officially say thank you to everybody. The judges, Kim and Anna and Sheila, thank you so much. You did great. Yeah. And to our storytellers and everybody who was here listening, watching, I really appreciate it. Storyteller, could everybody who's comfortable unmute themselves? And then I'd just like to hear, I'm going to call on you. If you want to share, let's start backwards with Stephanie. You were saying a little bit, can you share a little bit about Story Jam and your contest and anything else?
Yeah. So we have a contest and you can win $100, $100, and second place is $50. You have to tell a 90-second story with a beginning, middle, and end. And it's just, there are some rules on our website, storyjamshow.com. So I do this show in Chicago called Story Jam. And we have a podcast now, a pandemic podcast.
What's it called?
Story Jam.
Okay, everything's branded. I got it. Story Jam.
Or lack of originality.
Hey, Steph, I'm just wondering aloud here, if they have a question about really how to crush it in that contest. Do you know anyone they might be able to talk to about that?
I do.
Maybe there's someone on here that really figured out how to. I just a thought.
Maybe you?
Maybe me. Yeah.
Like $100.
I'm just
You won $100, and I know you worked on that story really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
You should tell the story.
Nah, it's not. Another time.
It only takes 90 seconds.
Another time, Richard Munchkin. Butt out in Vegas.
Oh, how about now? Now's another time.
When I don't know if this is a strange thing to share, but when I'm a host, I really feel like I'm in host mode, and I feel like it's weird. Now, it's just me. I'm not being shy or anything. I think most people here who know me don't think I'm shy. But I want to be host, and I want to give you the spotlight.
You know, we had 15 people enter that contest, and you won it. You nailed it, and you should think about sharing it.
Did I win by a lot, or was it close? Or
you won fair and square, but there were a couple of people right behind you.
But a little more than that.
Yeah,
You
won clean. You won clean.
All right. If you're here, I don't want to put you on the spot, so I'm going to say your name and just share if you want. Plug, promote, talk a little shop. So, Michael, you were our runner-up. Do you have anything you want to share? If it's weird and you don't, I don't want it to be weird.
No, it's not weird at all. No. So I do story slams through First Person Arts here in Philly. They are just kicking off a virtual one, which is going to be next month. So it's first person's one word, then arts. You can find it on Facebook. They're doing a Grand Slam in 2 weeks, which is like a super Grand Slam. So it's like the Grand Slam winners, which is going to be ridiculous. Yeah. So I think Steve Clark is going to be in that one. So that'd be really good.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, hilarious, and so that'll be good, and then they're doing ones that everybody can sign up for. So if you check that out, if you sign up this week, they're signing up people 2 weeks in advance. But that's good. And then otherwise, I do a little bit of stand up in the Philadelphia area, usually at dark open mics with the same 5 people. But now in this bright room with the same 5 people.
It really is bright.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It's lovely.
Thank you. Yeah, I have every spare light in the house in this room to light it up for the camera.
Right, lighting's weird, but you got it right tonight.
Thank you.
You nailed it. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for your story. David, out in San Diego, you want to share a little bit? You got something?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for letting me know about this. I'm in San Diego, and I host a show called Long Story Short, and it is a 5-minute, no notes, based on a theme every month. And I'm also part of a bigger organization here in San Diego called So Say We All. And you can find us.
With the light. Oh, that's better.
I'm going to leave my.
This is better.
I'm going to leave
Just
my.
mute yourself if you guys are talking while David's talking. Sorry, David. Go ahead.
I'm going to leave my email on here.
Yeah,
I just want to open invitation to anyone who wants to submit a story. We have another show that we do every month where you're allowed to add pictures, and it's a story that you would read for 10-12 minutes.
Wow.
And I'll give you the website through my email, and I'll just share that more with you. I just want to thank you for the few months not being able to do this live like I have been able to with people, this is a good kick in the arm. I've done like 2 of these Zooms through my own show. It's not the same, but I'm learning more, like how to light yourself up.
I know, right?
No idea how this is done.
I'm just figuring that out also. Yeah.
So again, my favorite thing to say is, you know, all your poor decisions and bad choices in life are a complete waste of time until you choose to share them with a bunch of strangers. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Howard, up in Minnesota, you shared a little bit about the big organization. You got anything else you want to share with us, sir?
Not much. I'm kind of burnt out after 9 days of teching for this national conference. I've been a storyteller and a performance artist for about 35 years, and used to be an actor. Started acting at 14. And the most interesting thing about me is my father used to be a tap dancer and got his first pair of tap shoes from Mr. Bojangles. And
by far the most interesting thing.
Absolutely. And I'm still getting over COVID after 3 months. And this is a whole lot of fun. I just, you know, I'm around all the time. You'll find me and see me a lot of places. Cool. And after I get a lot of sleep, I'm actually more lively than I feel tonight. So,
all right. I appreciate you being able to come and share like you often do. Sharon?
Yes?
I don't want to put people on the spot. Kat, by the way, our first storyteller, had to run. Did you have anything that you want to promote to people, let people know where they can find you? Does that not apply? I kind of know the answer, I think, but...
You talking to me?
Should we pass? Should we just, what do you want to?
Whatever Sean does, I support. I'm a supporter of North Carolina arts, and I've been having a lot of fun with the Flash, the storytelling Flash. Yeah. I highly recommend that. I think it's super duper fun.
And Sharon's kind of like the host of the Flash. She never asked to do it, but she fell into it, and she's really doing beautifully with it. So
I'm the prompts girl. So
prompt girl.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Come, I'm happy to prompt you up.
Thank you. Andrew, are you still here?
I'm right here.
So anything you want to promote other than this dissertation?
Yeah, please read the dissertation.
Okay. Sure. We'll get right on that.
I run a small local storytelling event here in East Hampton. It's called Unbuttoned.
Oh, wow, cool.
You can find us on Facebook. And seeing this event here tonight, which has been great. We haven't really moved to Zoom yet, but that's probably going to be our next step. So if anybody's interested, just awesome. Find me on Facebook or find Unbuttoned on Facebook. I'd love to see you. And I'm really interested in this 90-second story thing. So
yeah, come. It's fun.
Good. Sounds great. And thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming and sharing again. Mary Jo out in Tucson, are you still with us?
I am. I was just making note of something I saw on the thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like I'm like Sharon. I'm sort of a Sean groupie, and that what do you call the story jam? Is that what you're calling it?
Story jam.
Story jam. That what we were doing with the impromptu
Flash.
Story Flash. Oh, your Story Jam. I wrote that down. Story Flash. It was so much fun. It was like so much. I was so bummed out I had a meeting and had to leave early. It was great. So that's it. You know, I'm writing or I'm online.
And you also are part of, what's the name of the storytelling organization?
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're Tellers of Tales, which is part of the National Storytelling Network, and some of our people were there. And also Odyssey Storytelling. Oh, and they are doing, I'm not sure if it's Facebook Live or Zoom, but Thursday night at 7 Arizona time, which is the same as Pacific Daylight. So you could go on an Odyssey Storytelling if you saw that on Facebook and follow them or like them, and then it'll be the link or whatever will be there. But they're doing a storytelling. They have storytellers that have been chosen. You know, they already know the lineup. And
Oh, perfect.
I'll put out, I don't know the exact website, but I'll type it out.
If you've got something, then throw it in there. Yeah, it can't hurt. And we've got our final two gents, friends, both in Vegas, Richard and Bob. And so you guys, is it Richard or both of you guys that did the Las Vegas Slam? That's been.
We were both doing it, the Las Vegas Story Slam, but all the kind of story events in Vegas have been shut down, and we don't know when they'll be starting up again. So, and we're not doing any kind of Zoom things.
Gotcha.
So,
just doing this stuff.
Thankfully, we found you, Sean.
Right.
And,
well,
and Steph and.
Yeah. I'm grateful that we all found each other. There does seem to be more and more stuff, right? As some organizations are finally sort of getting onto some sort of online platform, because it does seem like this might be a little bit longer than we had anticipated, this whole thing. So
yeah, and actually, David, and anybody who has storytelling events, Steph has a Facebook group called Virtual Storytelling Shows.
Yeah.
And if you join that and put your shows on there, you'll get a lot of people finding you.
Steph, you want to put a link to that, or at least they can search for it in Facebook? So that's a good
I just wanted a place where we could all see what shows we're playing every single day.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so helpful. Yeah.
There's one place on Facebook where you can see different shows, which is good. There's a lot of people on there. There are indeed a lot of stuff going on, even if some of the bigger names aren't quite as doing the stuff online as much. Hey, my judges, if you're still here and you want to unmute yourself, no pressure, but I know you're also involved in story-related stuff. I'm curious to hear more. Sheila or Anna or Kim.
Sure, I can really quick on mine. I would say the only way that I would love to contribute to you guys is if you have any stories about, if you hear that, that's my dogs. It's a little Chihuahua and a Border Collie. So anyway, I have a website called Just Gist. So justgetyourshittogether.com. And if you ever have stories anywhere near what you guys shared today, be that, milestones or whatever, getting your shit together, that's the kind of stuff that I love for people to be able to read, because everyone has that moment where they're like, fuck, I really need to get my shit together. So you're more than welcome to contribute. It's an open, free membership platform or whatever, so you're welcome to promote whatever it is you're storytelling. You can promote yourself as an artist, as a writer, as a storyteller, and then I'm happy to just put you on the website. So justgist.com. I laugh at myself.
Well,
so just do it, just gist, GYST.com. I'll put it in both and I just suggest try to put your links. I see that you're putting them here. Try to put them on either Sean's Life in the Time of Corona or in the Facebook event link, so that you guys can continue to access them outside of the Zoom. But I just put it there, justgist.com. If you check out the Gister articles or the discussion board, that's kind of an idea. It's a funny tone, and anytime you have any kind of this is a get your shit together kind of moment, I love help building that community and just helping us all get our shit together. So
awesome.
That's my spiel.
Awesome spiel. And Sheila, not only you're a slam winner, and I know that you have a writing group, right? A pretty active writing group.
Yeah, so this was really, really cool. I left a little love note for y'all in the chat. I thought that was really, really special and really cool. So I guess I am a storyteller. I'm a spoken word poet. So I travel around all the country doing spoken word poetry.
Wow.
I won a book competition. So I have a book coming out November 1st. With Not a Cult Publishing. That is wild. And her name is Birthday Girl. And I'm very excited. If you hear a bird, that's my bird. I think it's very warm for her, so I might change her position soon. But the book's called Birthday Girl. It's coming out November 1st. Pray that quarantine is a little eased up so I can see everybody's faces in person and give everybody hugs, or at least a pinky. I would love that. Yeah, I'm in Orange County, California, but I travel everywhere, and I have a website. It's just SheilaJsadr.com. So SheilaJsadr. And if you want to be my friend on Instagram, that's where I'm like very active. It's OH Sheila with 2 A's. But I'm also on Facebook and Twitter, and just find me. I'm the only Sheila Sadr that you're gonna find. There's
Oh, I love, man, when you
There's
say your
rare
last
names.
name, it comes out. It's so interesting. I think there was like, I can't speak definitively for anybody else on here, but I think anybody who's like 40 and over, when you said Instagram, they kind of, there's this weird feeling that they get. It's just,
Yeah.
wait, I think that's,
Yeah,
a thing.
I was like,
That's a
I was
thing.
like,
It's a big
maybe
thing.
not. I was like, maybe not, and that's
No.
okay. But I have a Facebook. I can make an email list for you, and
Yes.
that works. I'm Persian, so we have tons of email chains like going around all the time. Yeah,
All right.
so I'm all for it. But yeah, anytime you want to reach out,
Cool.
this was really cool and special.
Thank you
y'all-
for being such a great judge, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Sheila.
No, thank you, and have a really good night. Stay safe and drink water.
We shall.
Bye,
And I think
y'all.
bye, Sheila. And I think Kim, our other judge, had to take off. So, cool. We've shared. So if anybody wants to just chat it up, if you got to go, go. You don't have to make a big entrance and say, or exit and say goodbye. You can. But I know Howard's on here, and he has a lot to say typically, at least when he's feeling okay. Anybody else? This might be a good time, if you want, as we wind down, to vent. Some people might need to vent. I do think it should be sort of in a safe-ish space kind of vent, which maybe doesn't make it a real vent. I don't know if you can do that. But what's on your mind or what's going on?
Vent about what's going on in the world? Or vent about...
I would, well, sure. Anything you want. But it's, yeah, should I regret creating an invitation right now? I'm not sure. Is that okay?
Well, there's just so much crap going on.
I wanted to say before the thing I couldn't say as a judge,
Okay.
was that when Bob, Bob,
Bob's here, by the way.
I'm obsessed with mid-century modern and all like this world that I'm never gonna get a part of, and so that those little snippets that when people provide that of like what it felt to like have to buy the catalogs and look at what a sailor would have looked like because you don't, I was just like jaw dropped because those are the perspective moments that like, oh, I'm so I'm so bored stuck at home and I have to be on social media all day, I'm just so bored, like you suck. Like before, people would literally have to sit there and be like, oh, well, the television isn't working and so I really just appreciate moments like that where you can capture those things and if you have like a platform or something that I can be that something that you're writing or whatever, I'm interested in looking into that because those are those little peeks into what a little 7-year-old boy was thinking about this sailor, those are anyway. So all of your stories are amazing, but I just like on a note of positivity, moments like that add to my infectious disease of collecting things from that era. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was awesome. And you guys, all of these stories were phenomenal. They were just so cool.
Good.
Anna, when we were young, there used to be pay phones. And your mom would send you out and say, make sure you have a dime in your pocket in case you have to call home.
Oh my gosh, that's
What is
I know when I was a teenager and started dating, my mom always made sure I had a dime in case I had to call, in case the boy was naughty and I had to call her to come and get me.
She didn't know that you weren't going to call though.
I was the naughty boy. We got along well.
And we had to change our underwear in case we were in an accident.
Right.
Your clean underwear was on, that's right.
Wow.
It's so interesting, Anna, that you're
Anna,
like,
are you
kind of
near
obsessed.
LA? Where do you live?
Originally, I'm from Long Beach or Los Angeles. I went to Long Beach State, so interesting connection there as well. I live in Denver now because I tried living in South Texas and I couldn't just hear another person say, oh, honey, bless your heart, when what they meant to say was, you are weird. You are weird as a, so I moved. Exactly. So now I'm in Denver, land of the liberal, crazy people, and I love it. I fit in really well here, so I'm happy as a clam.
Well, I was just going to suggest if you get to LA to go visiting friends or who's ever there, that on Sunset Boulevard, like Silver Lake Echo Park, it's all mid-century modern, all of the original stuff resale. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I am very lucky. Here, right up the street, I have a very strange, like little bubble community that all the houses are mid-century modern original. So I'm just every time I drive by, I'm like, I'm gonna buy you one day. So, but for now, I've just got the furniture. So that's my obsession. But anyway, that's all I wanted to contribute, just something positive. I do actually have to head out, so I'll listen a little bit to the conversations. But you guys, this was so fantastic. I can't wait. I'd love to join in on one of the next, at least.
Yeah, you're
Sean.
gonna be slamming next time, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whatever you want. Whatever. I'm
Okay.
sold.
Sure.
I'm sold.
Cool. Awesome. Hey.